Welcome to the Ladies Talk Show. This is your host, Leah Richeimer. Wow, we have so many questions on being a kvetcher and complaining and whatever, and how do you vent but still not push your husband away? Really, really good. Ladies, thank you so much. If you have questions, send them to info@ladiestalkshow.com. Info@ladiestalkshow. And while you're there, look at all the stuff we have there. It's very fun. But send us a question, and we've got so many here. Okay, so go ahead, Gila, just start. Let's go right in.
Okay, here we go. So, Rachel's asking, firstly, I really enjoy your classes. Thank you.
Okay.
Though I generally think of myself as a happy person, around my husband, I'm generally a kvetch. How can I allow myself to vent and let my guard down while still being happy and upbeat?
How can I let my what's that? What? How can I say the
Let
last
my
one?
guard down while still
Right.
being happy and upbeat. Sounds like her husband's getting the short end of the stick of her personality.
I get it. Yeah. So I mean, here's the thing, ladies. We all know that God gave us women 9/10 of speech, right? If you use it all on your husband, you will kill the guy. All right. So you surround yourself with sisters and friends and whatever. All of us right now, we live such isolated lives. Everyone's in their own little shell. Even it's like you're sitting in a doctor's office or whatever. What are you doing on your phone? It used to be 10 years ago, maybe it's 20, but whatever. Not too long ago, you would sit there and you'd be and say, "Oh, where did you get your purse? Oh, I like your nail polish. Where do you go on vacation? Who knows? You'd engage. We are so isolated in this world that now we just all we have is our husband, like that. So if we're not doing things right, if you're doing things right, you also surround yourself. You spend time with friends. You spend effort, and is it effort to have a girlfriend who like natters, or she complains, or she puts you down, or there's everyone has stuff, right? That's harder than being alone, being in a room alone. I get it. But that's where our joy in life is connecting with other people. That's what we're here for. And we know through massive amounts of studies that the more you connect with people, the longer you live, the healthier you are, the better chance of fighting disease, et cetera, et cetera. So even though it seems like an effort sometimes to make that effort, because again, you want a friend that you're going to listen to and they're going to listen to you. You don't just want somebody who's all the time going, uh-huh, well, this happened and that happened, whatever. You'd feel like it was a burden. If you are the one who's always complaining, fetching to your friend, you're always a burden. So it's got to be even. And do you want to sit there for 20 minutes and listen to somebody's story about their son's thing? Probably not. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's interesting, or you might feel good because you're contributing or you're doing a chesed, an act of kindness for them. I get it. But sometimes it's actual work to sit there and listen to and try and follow the story that they're telling poorly. You know, that's the effort that pays off big time in terms of connection and feeling connected. And why is this important for your shalom bayis, for your marital happiness? The reason it's so crucial is because, first of all, men and women are different. So if you were to tell your husband something like, my son, got sent to the principal's office today. Your husband's like, well, good. I'm glad. He must have done something wrong. Whereas a girlfriend might say something like, oh, you're kidding. I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. That's so sad. Whatever, they're going to give you the empathy you need. They're going to give you the support you need. They might say, well, what happened? Oh, well, I hear that, but maybe there's a little silver lining from this cloud because, maybe your son will now be more responsible. I don't know, whatever. The women hear things differently and process things like another woman in a different way. So if you find yourself fetching every day, your husband comes home, you complain about this, complain about that, and you're always complaining, that's your first sign that you don't have enough of a support system around you, and that is the project you need to take on in your life right now. Take a time, make a commitment. I am going to call my sister every Sunday afternoon. Well, you're busy, crazy. What am I thinking? Every Monday night before I go to bed, whatever, every week. I'm going to meet with my siblings on Zoom or on phone conference or whatever once a month. I'm going to, this friend who lives up the block, I kept calling her and she kept not responding and not responding. I'm going to call her and have it out with her and say, I just want you to know something. I really love our friendship. I love being with you. I enjoy your company very, very much. But I just want to say, I felt a little like maybe it wasn't reciprocal. This is a vulnerable thing to do. I felt like it wasn't reciprocal because I kept calling you and you didn't call back. And I just wasn't sure. And I wanted to reach out to you now because I want you to know that, I go to the, whatever yoga class every Thursday morning, and I wanted to invite you. You don't have to be so weird. Don't, that might have come across too much of a weird, vulnerable thing, but you get the general idea is start making this a priority in your life. Now, what is that going to do for your marriage? Number one, you are going to be a happier person. Therefore, your family, your husband's going to be happy, the relationship's going to be better, and your relationship with your kids is going to be better because you're not complaining to them all the time or being upset that they're not meeting your expectations of how you think they should behave or what they should be doing. Okay, so that's, first of all, it removes you a little bit and it's this kind of self-care. Very interesting. I had a whole bunch of women on, and I was asking, what do you do for self-care? And all of them were, I talked to my friends. I was like, it was really, really interesting. I thought they were going to say, I get a massage, I get my nails done, whatever. It was all that. Now, I have to say, I wasn't sure. Someone said to me, that's a given you talk to your friends, that you need more self-care than that. So every person's different. But the bottom line that I'm trying to point out to you is that having that support system in your life of women, okay, is going to make it so that you aren't fetching as much to your husband. Now, remember, the absolute worst thing to do is to tell your friends and your women and your support system about things about your husband. It's not to talk about your husband. It's to talk about everything else. Things that happen between you and your husband, you can either talk to your husband about it, or if you really need advice or something's really troubling you, get a therapist or a rebbitzin or a rabbi, even somebody who a confidant, an older, wiser person, because otherwise it could be gossip, it could be lashon hara. So very, very important. And if you do have one girlfriend who's really good at solving problems and very committed, you tell her, my husband did this, and if the person answer is, I can't believe he did that, that's horrible, that is not a good friend to confide in. But if you have a friend, maybe they're a little older than you, or very, very wise, or maybe they're a therapist themselves or something like that. You could choose one friend that you could say, listen, I love my husband. He's wonderful. He's an amazing person, but I have some issue that I need to discuss, and then make your husband sound as good as possible. If there's a way to avoid saying anything bad, like he leaves his books on the table all the time. Every time I clean up, they're there, you could just say, my husband does something that bothers me. Okay. Anyway, I'm a long-winded explanation to tell you that the very big missing, the first sign that you can tell that you don't have enough women support in your life is that you complain too much to your husband. Because once you get it off your chest and you vent it, when you get to your husband, you're going to be a brighter, happier person. Okay, that was sort of the step one to how to solve fetching to your husband. The other step is complimenting and appreciating and verbalizing that as much as you possibly can. Because if you do fetch too much and vent too much, if it's counterbalanced with you appreciating him and thanking him and loving him and saying kind words and doing things he likes and he loves, if you do all of that, it kind of hopefully will balance out a little bit as well. Okay, great question. And I hope that's very helpful to you. Get started today. Don't say, oh, that's something I should do, I need to do. Get started today. Right after you finish listening to this, even right now while I'm talking, write down the name of one friend that you're going to reach out to, one sibling, one cousin, somebody who you used to be close to that you can be closer to, or somebody who you're good friends with, but you just don't see often enough because of life circumstances. Make it your business. Write the name down right as we speak or after the show. Okay, go ahead. What else you got, Keela?
Okay, amazing. Okay, so Devora's question is, I feel like if I don't complain, then my husband won't know how hard my day is, and I won't get the appreciation I need from him.
That's fantastic. So there's a beautiful example of this, a beautiful solution to this. And that is as the day goes through, you can even write it down, or at the end of the day, write down all the fetchy things, and say, listen, The key part is not remembering everything, although that's helpful. The key part is giving a premise, a preface, yeah, preface to what you're going to say. So if you're saying this happened and then that happened and then that, then he's just gets lower and lower and lower. And for you, those of you who are listening on audio, I'm like going, oh, I'm walking, whatever, what. So it just could really bring down the whole atmosphere in the home, and you don't want that because there's no love and yummy warmth, in that kind of an environment. So what you want to do, if you preface it with very simply, you say, I just need to rattle off and vent on all the crazy things that happened, mostly so that you'll say, wow, you're amazing that you did all that. So I'm just going to rattle them off quickly. Actually, there's one story I want to tell you because that was particularly frustrating, but I'm just going to rattle them all off. And all you need to do at the end of this, don't let this make you depressed. Don't make this let you think that I'm unhappy and miserable in my life. I'm not. I just need to vent on these things, and that will make me feel better. Okay. All you need to do at the end of this is say, that was tough, or oh wow, you're amazing. Something actually that oh wow, you're amazing is probably better than all that stuff, but both are good, both suffice, something like that in your own word, dear husband. But and then I have to tell you this long story because you can't believe what happened. I brought the car to the mechanic, and then he didn't put the carburetor. What's a carburetor? No, but whatever. He didn't do the thing. And then I went home, and he said, "Come right back." And I came right back, and I walked a half an hour to get there, and the car wasn't ready. It was so frustrating. So these are fine. These are fine to share. But again, if it's in a crucible, if the clee that you're telling it into is explained in the first hand, of why you're saying it. I need to vent. End of story. I need to vent. Please listen to me vent. It'll make me feel better and closer to you by having vented. And I will feel like now you'll really appreciate what I go through in a day. Again, part of that is also appreciating what he did during the day. How did your thing go at work? How did the report go? How did wow, I know you were late this morning. Did it work out okay? I'm so sorry if I caused you to be late or whatever. Having empathy about what he has gone through and what he's done in his day will help this enormously as well. He'll feel a imbalance in the relationship where he needs to also give you empathy. It's a gewaldic thing, a beautiful, beautiful thing. So, but the main thing to start with is for you to take a deep breath and to explain to him what you're about to do. And then at the end, say something beautiful like, thank you so much for listening. I feel so much better than I did before I told you all of this. Okay. Good luck with it. And let us know. Info at Ladies Talk Show. You can write and say, oh, I did that. It was amazing. It turned everything around and there's a warm atmosphere in the house. And I don't feel bad about myself for being such a kvetcher and complaining all the time. Beautiful.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Harry's asking, my husband's mother and sisters are the perfect type. Pretty, tidy, well balanced. I've always felt an inferiority complex since marrying him. He used to compare me to them, and whilst he doesn't verbally do this anymore, I know that he thinks it. It makes me so unhappy, and I can't be my real self because he's always watching me and mentally comparing. How can I be comfortable with myself?
Hmm.
I'm wondering how much of it is an assumption, because what does she know what's really in his brain? Maybe
Yeah.
just the energy? I don't
Mhm.
know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that, but it's also the one issue. Ugh, it's kind of like when someone compares, what are they doing? They're taking one quality and comparing it to another one quality. And a person has 10,000 qualities, right? So I think what she needs to first, it starts with herself of realizing what she has that's special, different than those women. Like maybe they're perfect and they're coiffed and their house is nice and they've got, great eating habits. They eat salads for every meal, include breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they never have anything else. And, there's like these gorgeous chocolates there and they don't take them, whatever it is that you're envisioning in terms of like these quote unquote, perfect people. We used to call them pointy toed ladies. But anyway, pointy toed, I think pointy toed shoe ladies, I guess is what but anyway, so they're a certain type. So that's maybe true. And she may not be that. She might be more schlumpy and she may, not be into, may not have the finances to go buy fancy clothes or has no interest in buying, doesn't want to take the time or has no interest, whatever it is that she's saying that he's comparing her to. But what she has to understand about herself, there is something that is absolutely extraordinary about her that maybe she's not tapped into. Like maybe she's more intuitive about what other people are feeling than anyone her husband has ever met. Meaning she can be there and she can see, there's a bunch of kids playing. There's 5 kids and they're all whatever. And, everyone else is just looking and looking and they're eating their croissant, whatever they're doing. And she sees that there's one kid who everyone's kind of not sharing with and not letting, whatever. And she beelines over to them and hands them lollipops and said, give everybody a lollipop, so that they're now the center of attention. So she has this God-given chesed and purity and empathy and this beautiful, beautiful quality that she doesn't even recognize in herself. So when you're jealous of other people and you're thinking, oh, I wished I was more like that, but I just can't even be like that. My husband wishes I was like that. And you've got this whole mentality about that. It means you're not spending enough time focusing in on what your own special qualities are. And I think it's the Vilna Gaon. I'm so bad at remembering who said it, but I'm pretty sure it was the Vilna Gaon said that the whole purpose we are on this earth for is to strengthen our traits and to become a better people. And I think it's Rav Volbe who says that, and please correct me, I might be wrong, but I think Rav Volbe is the one who said that more than we need to know our weaknesses, which we all know, we can beat ourselves up left, right, and center. More than we need to know our weaknesses, we need to know our strengths, and we need to know the special things that there are about us. And so that's what she needs to focus on. That's your homework, Mrs. I remember like I knew her name. That's the homework, is to even get a journal out and start writing down what is special about you, what is the outstanding quality that the outstanding mida character trait that is so powerful that you have in a beautiful, beautiful sense. So I'm just using this as an example. Let's say it is having extreme empathy for another person, right? And they say that you should double down on your strengths. Everyone's so busy working on their weaknesses, and that just like brings them down and it's depressing, whereas if you work on your strengths, you feel good about yourself, and then you do that again, and then you empathize here, and then you empathize there. And once you have more clarity with journaling all of your good traits or whatever, and then circling the really key ones that feel most like your neshama talking to you, once you've honed those down, that's when you could share them with your husband. And you could say, I want you to know, I really, admire your mom. I admire your sister. I think they're incredible people. I wished I could be more like that. Whatever, God created me the way, differently, whatever. But I've come to notice that I have a special quality of empathy for other people. And I'm just getting in touch with it a little bit more myself. Now, again, you have to know your relationship with your husband. If you tell him this and you're like, well, that wasn't very empathetic, and he's going to chip at you, because that's people's natural inclination when you say, I'm great at this, But, then you have to do this with a lot of caution. But if you've been able to have really good talks with your husband and you feel like, he would help bolster you in this, then you can say, this is my superpower. I really want to grow it and grow it. And the legacy I want to leave in this world is a legacy of somebody who was one of the most extraordinarily empathetic people that ever walked the face of the earth. That's my goal in my life, like something, it doesn't have to be so dramatic. I tend to be like on the dramatic side. But if you are able to do that, and it's really from the inside. It has nothing to do with your husband and how he's judging you and how his mother is and his mother-in-law, none of that. It's you feeling self-confident in yourself that God did not create you as a less than other people. There's something inside of you. And just we're going to move on to the next question, but I just want to give you a little bit of a secret to getting close to people. If you can find that special something in other people, that is your key to closeness with all these other people. People will love you because you're seeing the best side of them, the best part of them, the thing in themselves that maybe they don't even recognize yet. So that's a little side bonus to this ability, but the ability is grown by first starting within yourself and seeing what your superpower is and what's special about you. Good luck with it, Hashem should bench you. Let us know. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, great. Dina's asking, is it normal that I find it so much easier to fake being happy around my kids than my husband?
No, because you can be fake with your kids, and it's very hard to be fake with your husband. That would be sad if you were able to do that. That would be sad. Just because it's not real, it's not authentic. And being happy in front of your kids is a good role model. It's a good, they probably can tell a little bit also the subtleties of it, of where you're coming from and why, when you're doing that. But no, I don't find that. I find that quite normal and quite healthy actually. And getting working on your own moods is a challenge that actually I have a whole section in Marriage Secrets that has a whole sections on mood. You can look in the index. I think there's an index. I'm gonna space get it right today. But anyway, you can look up moods, and it talks about growing your ability to master your own moods because that's very crucial, not just for everyone around you being happy or sad or whatever, but for your own sense of self-mastery, your sense of self-control, your sense of ability to, we all have moods. We know that they come and they go and they're up and they're down and whatever. And if you are at the effect of your moods, it's so unpredictable, whereas if you be able to have mastery, like I don't feel like doing this. I don't want to be with them. I don't want to, whatever it is, but you're able to contain it. You're angry and you're able not to overreact to something or to shout at somebody or whatever. That self-mastery over moods is a crucial growth level in terms of wisdom and in terms of maturity and in terms of having the life that you want to create around you rather than just being at the effect of the moods that come in. Now, I'm just going to give you a little secret. The number one way to tell whether the mood is external or internal is taking a nap. If you go for a nap and you wake up and you're like, oh, the world looks so much better than it did, an hour ago, 45. I think 45 minutes is now what they're saying. I think there's 24 minutes and 40, I don't know, whatever. You have to go ask somebody who's an expert in this. But basically, you take a nap. If a nap shifts your whole perspective on things, then it's you, right? And it usually is you. So gaining mastery of your moods will really, really help with this. And that's easier to do. You can fake it in front of kids. You can, and they're kind of like inquisitive and asking questions, whereas your husband's like, why did you do that? Or wherever he's coming from, it's from an adult place, and that's not surprising at all, but work on your moods. Okay.
Okay, so Tanya's asking, can you give me one thing I can say to myself before my husband walks through the door to get me in the right frame of mind to get out of complaining mode and into closeness mode? Ah, that's so delicious. Good question,
I
Tanya.
love the question, and I cannot think of anything because there is nothing. That when your husband walks through the door, that is when the kids are screaming and that you're exhausted and you didn't get enough sleep and you didn't get to put the laundry up that you meant, and now it's too late because then the wet clothes will be sitting over. That's crazy hour. Crazy, crazy, crazy. That's when all the phone calls come in that are urgent and whatever. So there's the secret at that crazy hour is to recognize, and it could be you have a timer or something like that, or it's some way of maybe a post-it note, by the front door, unless he's going to see it, which may be not the end of the world, or inside the bathroom, he's going to come home in a few minutes, and you go inside the bathroom, and inside your medicine chest, you have a little saying there, and if it said something like, remember, this is the toughest time of the day and connection is more important than accomplishing. So the balance between, you can either be close to someone or you can get accomplish a lot. So if you're in that worst hour, If your choice is to get the lunches done for the next day, get dinner on the table, get the laundry done, get everyone's homeworks done, get everybody in the bath, everybody showered, everybody dressed, everybody brushed their teeth or whatever, and you're trying to accomplish these 7 things when he walks through the door, that's accomplishment versus connection. So shift your life around, perhaps, this is something to really look seriously into. Make the lunches at midnight or that more the kids leave for school and you make their lunches for the next day. It's okay. They'll be fine. Put them in the fridge. Okay, the peanut butter and jelly will be a little soggy, so we'll give them something else. So, try and make anything that can be delegated or shifted or done differently so that you're not insane when he walks through the door. That's your number one way of being able to be present when he walks home and welcome him home. And again, this is the last thing I'm going to say about this because we're out of time, but I just want to say if your husband comes home, there's a difference between you're giving the kids a bath, right? Everyone's in the bath and your husband comes home and you're like, I'm giving the kids a bath, you know? Okay, that's one thing you are. Okay, or you're like, oh, welcome home. I'm so happy you're home. I'm giving the kids a bath. I'll be down in 10 minutes to say hello. Right? That difference, that shift in your husband feeling like the number one priority in your life, and like that you are feel badly that you can't greet him and you can't whatever, that makes him feel like a king. And guess what? A man who feels like a king will treat you like a queen. Okay, it's Leah Richeimer. Have a fantastic week and do one thing this week to make your husband feel like a king. See you next time.